Prologue. In the quiet days following the war's latest victory, the world finally allows us to breathe again. There are still patrols along the borders, still scouts watching for corruption or signs of the anti-light, but the constant urgency has faded for now. Cities rebuild what was damaged. Fields grow green again. The sky, for once, holds only clouds instead of smoke. And in that quiet, I turn my focus somewhere else. Emily. Her pink light is no longer just a spark of possibility. After everything we've seen, after the way her power stabilized mine, after the way it amplified Phase 2 during battle, it's clear that her light is something that must be understood, not ignored. So we begin training again. Not the kind of training I once endured under Lucienne, filled with bruises and exhaustion. Emily is still a child. Her lessons begin with the same foundation I learned long ago. Control. Calm. Intention. We practice in open fields behind the house where the air is quiet and the ground soft. At first the exercises are simple, breathing slowly, letting the pink light appear without letting it surge too quickly. Emily sits cross-legged in the grass, concentrating with fierce determination. Remember, I remind her gently, the light listens to how you feel. I know, she replies, closing one eye as if that somehow helps her focus. The pink glow flickers around her fingers. Steady. Controlled. She mastered Phase 1 already. Amplification. Her light strengthens others naturally. When she stands near me, my green light deepens automatically. But this time the lessons go deeper. Instead of focusing on how her light strengthens mine, I ask her to think about something else. Why do you use the light? I ask. Emily tilts her head. To help you, she says immediately. That's part of it? I kneel beside her. But think about everyone else. Her expression softens slightly as she looks toward the house in the distance. Mom and Dad are sitting on the porch. Tess waves when she notices us watching. Emily's pink glow brightens slightly. What do you feel when you think about them? I ask. That I don't want anything bad to happen to them. The light responds instantly. Not brighter. Warmer. That warmth spreads outward from her hands, steady and calm instead of flickering like before. Good, I say quietly. That's the feeling. Day after day we repeat the exercise. No pressure. No battle. Just patience. Emily learns slowly that her light doesn't just respond to excitement or concentration. It listens to something deeper. Care. Connection. The simple certainty that the people around her matter. And then, one afternoon, the shift happens. There is no explosion of power. No sudden surge that rattles the ground. The change is gentle. But unmistakable. Emily stands in the grass, breathing slowly as the pink glow forms around her again. This time it doesn't flicker. It expands. The light spreads outward smoothly, wrapping around her in a soft aura that hums with quiet stability. When it reaches me, the green light beneath my skin responds automatically, harmonizing with the new strength of her power. The resonance is stronger than before. Balanced. Complete. Emily opens her eyes. Daddy, it feels different. I nod slowly. Because I can feel it too. She has stepped beyond amplification alone. Emily has entered Phase 2. Love. Not through battle. Not through desperation. But through something far simpler and far stronger. The certainty that she wants to protect the people she loves. She stands there in the afternoon sunlight, pink light glowing steadily around her, and I realize something important. This isn't just training anymore. It's the beginning of her own journey with the light. Chapter 1: The Third Threshold. The anti-light does not give warnings. It does not send scouts or shadows ahead of itself. It simply arrives. One moment the sky above the valley is bright with late afternoon sun. The next, the light dims not as if clouds have rolled in, but as if something has swallowed the very concept of brightness. The soldiers on patrol notice it first. Then the mages. Then everyone. A dark figure forms in the sky above the battlefield, standing where no ground exists, its shape perfectly human and perfectly wrong. No reflection touches it. No glow bends around it. The anti-light has returned. And this time it wastes no time watching. It attacks. Corruption pours outward like a tide breaking through a dam. The air itself distorts, black fractures spreading across the sky as if reality is cracking under the pressure of its presence. Emily is already moving. Daddy. I see it. Her hands tighten around my shoulders as she settles into the reinforced pack on my back, pink light blooming outward immediately. The familiar warmth spreads into my green light, amplifying it the way we have practiced countless times. 2 lights. 1 rhythm. We step forward together. The emerald blades form instantly in my hands, their green edges blazing brighter as Emily's amplification flows into them. At the same time, several floating constructs appear around us, guns formed from condensed green light, hovering like silent guardians waiting for my command. The anti-light descends. And the battle begins. Corruption strikes first. A massive wave of dark energy tears across the field, devouring the grass and turning the air cold. I move instantly, phase 2 flowing through me as I raise a shield of green light. Emily's pink glow reinforces it. The wave crashes against us. The ground trembles. But the barrier holds. Good, Emily whispers behind me. Stay steady. The floating constructs fire. Emerald pulses streak across the battlefield, slamming into the anti-light's form. The blasts don't destroy it, but they slow its advance, forcing it to shift and twist to avoid the incoming attacks. At the same time I move forward, blades flashing. Lucien's lessons guide every step. Mirror style catches the anti-light's first strike. Phantom style carries me around its follow-up attack. Storm style launches a rapid flurry of thrusts toward the void-like shape of its body. Each strike meets resistance. Not armor. Absence. The anti-light doesn't block my blades. It consumes their energy. Even amplified by Emily, phase 2 struggles against something designed to swallow light itself. The battle grows brutal quickly. The anti-light is stronger than before. Faster. Smarter. Its movements are precise now, almost surgical. Each strike lands heavier than the last, forcing me backward across the battlefield. The floating constructs fire constantly, but the void absorbs more of their energy than before. Even Emily's amplification cannot fully close the gap. For the first time since the fight began, a realization creeps into my mind. We are not fighting to win. We are fighting to survive. A slash of black energy cuts through my guard. The emerald shield fractures. Emily gasps as the shockwave ripples through the pack behind me. Daddy. I'm okay. But the anti-light has learned something. It stops attacking me. Its featureless head turns slightly. Toward Emily. Before I can react, it moves. A surge of corruption forms in its hand, denser than anything it used before. The energy compresses into a spear of void, aimed directly past me. At her. It understands. It knows the amplification is the key. If Emily falls, so do I. The attack launches. I move instantly, raising both blades to intercept it, but the strike is faster than anything it used before. The void spear breaks through our guard. And in that moment, something inside both of us changes. The lights respond. Not to fear. Not to panic. To something deeper. Will. My green light ignites brighter than it ever has before, erupting outward with sudden clarity. At the same time, Emily's pink glow expands beside it, no longer just amplification but something stronger. The two energies merge. Harmonize. Transform. The surge feels different from phase 2. Love created warmth. This is determination. The certainty that we will not fall. The certainty that we will stand. Both lights cross the threshold at the same time. Phase 3. The battlefield explodes in emerald and rose-colored light. The void spear disintegrates instantly as the combined surge blasts outward. The anti-light is thrown backward across the sky, its form distorting violently as the energy collides with it. For the first time, it recoils. Not destroyed, but shocked. It stabilizes itself in midair, the darkness around its body rippling as if it is recalculating the battle entirely. Then it does something unexpected. It retreats. The anti-light dissolves into the sky's darkness, its presence fading as quickly as it appeared. But before it vanishes completely, a voice echoes through the battlefield. Cold. Curious. I will grow stronger. Then it is gone. Silence settles slowly across the field. The sky brightens again. The corruption fades. Emily and I stand there breathing hard, the glow of phase 3 slowly dimming around us as the battlefield regains its shape. My arms tremble slightly. Emily's pink light flickers softly behind me. Daddy, she says quietly. Yeah. I think we got stronger. I nod slowly. Yes, we did. But even as the relief settles in, another truth presses into my mind. We force the anti-light back. We cross the next threshold. But the enemy we just faced was only testing us. And next time, it will come prepared. Chapter 2, Learning to Grow. With the anti-light driven back for now, life settles into something quieter. Not safe. Not completely. But calm enough to breathe. And in that calm, we turn our attention to something just as important as any battle. Emily's learning. We begin homeschooling her. No classrooms. No formal systems. Just us, a table, and the time we've carved out between everything else. It feels simple in a way that almost doesn't belong in a world like this, but that's exactly why it matters. We start with the basics. Math. Reading. Writing. The language used in Canthar has its own variations, its own history, but for simplicity, we just call it English. There's no reason to complicate something she's only just beginning to understand. Tess takes the lead with reading and writing. She doesn't sit Emily down and lecture her. Instead, she turns everything into a game. Words become puzzles. Sentences become small challenges. Sometimes she'll write something simple and have Emily guess what it says, other times she'll let Emily try to write her own version and gently correct it. Close, Tess says one afternoon, smiling as Emily proudly shows off a slightly crooked word. But this letter goes here. Emily squints at it. It still looks right. It does, Tess agrees, but now it'll be more right. Emily grins and fixes it. I handle math. Numbers come slower at first, but I keep things steady. No pressure, no rushing, just repetition and encouragement. What's 2 plus 3? I ask. Emily counts on her fingers, whispering quietly to herself. 5. Exactly. She smiles like she just solved something huge. We build from there. Simple addition turns into patterns, patterns into small problems. Sometimes she gets it immediately. Sometimes she doesn't. Both are fine. Learning isn't about getting it right the first time. It's about understanding it the next time. Then there's the part we can't ignore. Magic. Myra joins us for that. She approaches it carefully, the same way she always has, with calm structure and quiet awareness of what Emily is capable of. Where Tess brings warmth and I bring patience, Myra brings precision. Mana is not something you force, she tells Emily during one lesson. It's something you become aware of. Emily sits cross-legged, trying very hard to stay still. Like breathing, she asks. Myra nods slightly. Yes. But deeper. They practice sensing the flow of mana first, not using it, not shaping it, just feeling it. The movement of energy in the air, in the ground, within themselves. Emily's pink light flickers occasionally as she concentrates. Not uncontrolled. Just, responsive. A soft shimmer around her fingers when she focuses too hard. A faint glow when she gets excited about getting something right. Myra notices. So do I. But we don't rush it. She's already ahead of where she should be. What matters now is stability. Understanding. Control. The lessons continue day after day. Calm. Steady. Simple. And in a world filled with battles, corruption, and power that can reshape reality itself, this might be the most important work we do. Emily learns quickly. She asks questions constantly, some simple, some unexpectedly thoughtful. She makes mistakes, gets frustrated, then tries again. Every small success builds into something larger. Not just knowledge. Confidence. I watch her one afternoon as she reads a sentence out loud, stumbling slightly but pushing through until she gets it right. Her face lights up when she finishes. Did I do it? She asks. You did, Tess says. Yeah, I add. You really did. Her pink light flickers softly in response. And in that moment, I realize something. This isn't just about preparing her for the dangers ahead. It's about giving her something stronger than power. A foundation. Something steady she can stand on when everything else isn't. Because one day, she won't just be learning from us. She'll be making her own choices. Walking her own path. And when that time comes, I want her to be ready. Chapter 3: Understanding the Unknown. For the first time in a long while, the world gives us something rare. Time. Not the kind stolen between battles, or forced into existence by exhaustion, but real time. Enough to think. Enough to question. And I start using it differently than I ever have before. I stop just using magic. I start studying it. Canthar has always treated magic as something to learn through experience, passed down, practiced, refined, but rarely questioned at its core. Spells are memorized. Techniques are taught. Results are accepted. But not analyzed. Not tested. Not broken down into why they work. So I begin doing exactly that. In a way, I become something this world has never truly had before. A scientist. I start small. Simple objects. Controlled environments. Repeated trials. I gather basic materials: glass vials, measured ingredients, standard healing and stamina potions, and set up a workspace away from distractions. Not a lab in the way Earth would define it, but structured enough to track results. Tess watches me the first time I begin writing everything down. You're documenting it, she asks. Yeah. Why? So I don't have to guess twice. She smiles slightly. Fair. At first, the experiments are straightforward. How does the green light interact with raw mana? What happens when I apply controlled pulses to different materials? Does the output change depending on intent, or only intensity? I test. Repeat. Adjust. Sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes something subtle changes. And every time, I write it down. Patterns begin forming. The green light doesn't just act on objects, it interacts with the structure of what it touches. Mana flows differently depending on composition. Organic material responds more fluidly than inorganic. Potions react in ways that suggest they aren't just mixtures, but systems. That's when I shift focus. Potions. Potion crafting in Canthar has always been part tradition, part practice. Recipes are followed. Measurements are important. but results can still vary depending on skill and experience. Which means there's still uncertainty. And uncertainty means there's something to learn. I begin testing how the green light interacts with completed potions first. Carefully. Controlled. I take a standard healing potion and hold it in front of me, focusing the green light into a narrow, precise flow, not enough to activate it, just enough to touch it. The moment the light connects, something changes. I don't see anything. I feel it. Information flows into my mind, not words, not images, but understanding. The potion's effect becomes clear instantly. Healing strength. Duration. Even the minor side effects from its ingredients. I pull the light back immediately. Blink. Then try again. Same result. Okay, I mutter. That's new. I repeat the test with different potions. Stamina. Focus. Resistance. Each time, the result is the same. The green light reads them. Not guesses. Not estimates. Reads. I don't need to drink the potion. I don't need to test it on someone else. I already know what it will do. And more importantly, what it should do. I bring one of the potions to Myra. Tell me what this does, I say, handing it to her. She examines it briefly. Standard healing. Moderate strength. Slight delay in effect. I nod. That's what it's supposed to do. Then I focus the green light on it again. There's a minor imbalance in the third ingredient, I say. It slows absorption slightly more than intended. Myra looks at me carefully. You're certain? Yes. She tests it. Later, she returns. You were right. That's when I understand the full weight of what I've found. This isn't just sensing magic. This is analysis. The green light can interpret structure, composition, and function at a level no one in Canthar has ever accessed directly. Which means I'm no longer limited to trial and error. I can evaluate before using. Correct before failing. Improve before risking. The experiments expand. I begin adjusting potions intentionally, using the green light to identify weaknesses in their composition. Small changes lead to measurable improvements: faster activation, cleaner effects, fewer side reactions. Every result gets recorded. Every variation tracked. Tess starts calling it my magic notes. Emily tries to copy them sometimes, writing her own versions with much larger letters and very confident spelling. Myra, on the other hand, watches with growing interest. You're not just refining potions, she says one evening. I look up from my notes. No. She nods slowly. You're redefining how they're understood. And she's right. This isn't just experimentation anymore. It's a shift. Magic in Canthar has always been powerful, but now it's becoming understandable. Predictable. Improved. I look down at the potion in my hand, feeling its structure without even needing to activate the light this time. I'm not just learning how magic works. I'm beginning to change how this world thinks about it. And once something like that starts, it doesn't stop. Chapter 4: Carrying Phase 3. With Phase 3 awakened, everything changes again. Not in the way Phase 2 did. There's no warmth that settles naturally, no immediate sense of stability. Phase 3 feels deeper than that. Heavier. More demanding. It isn't something we can simply use and adjust over time. It's something that has to be understood. So Emily and I begin training again. Together. Not just to grow stronger, but to keep this new level of power from becoming something dangerous. Phase 2 was rooted in love, clear, steady, emotional. Phase 3 goes further. It demands clarity. Trust. Awareness of every movement, every thought, every shift in energy. There's no room for distraction here. Even a small imbalance is enough to throw everything off. So our training changes. We don't just practice combat anymore. We practice synchronization. We stand facing each other in open space, letting the green and pink lights rise slowly, not all at once, not in bursts, but in controlled, measured layers. I guide the flow carefully, watching how Emily's amplification responds when the energy reaches higher intensity. At first, it's unstable. The moment we push too far, the lights surge unevenly. The green spikes too quickly, the pink struggles to stabilize it, and we're forced to stop before it spirals. Too much, I say, lowering the energy immediately. Emily nods, breathing a little faster. I felt it. We reset. Again. And again. Sometimes we don't even reach phase 3. Sometimes we stop just before it, focusing on how the transition feels rather than forcing it to happen. Other times, we try to hold it longer. Those are the hardest moments. The power presses against us from the inside, like something trying to expand beyond what we can contain. It's not violent, but it's insistent, demanding awareness. If either of us loses focus, even for a second, the flow becomes uneven. And uneven at this level is dangerous. So we learn to move slowly, carefully, listening instead of forcing. There are failures. Moments where the energy rises too fast and collapses just as quickly. Moments where we have to stop completely, letting the light fade before trying again. But there are successes too. Small ones at first. Then larger. There are moments where everything aligns. The green and pink lights rise together, not fighting, not correcting, just flowing. The energy moves between us like a single current instead of two separate forces trying to stay in sync. In those moments, phase 3 feels natural. Not easy, but right. Don't rush it, I remind her during one of the longer holds. I'm not, she says quietly. And she isn't. Emily never pushes too far. Not out of fear, but because she understands something instinctively that took me much longer to learn. Power isn't something you chase. It's something you carry. And in return, she reminds me of something just as important. When I start focusing too hard, trying to perfect every detail, control every variable, she steadies me without even meaning to. Daddy, she says one afternoon, her voice calm, you're thinking too much again. I pause. She's right. I let the tension go. The light stabilizes instantly. That's how it works now. We balance each other. Days turn into weeks. The training continues. Repetition builds familiarity. Familiarity builds control. Phase 3 begins to change, not in strength, but in how it feels. At first, it was something we had to reach for. Then something we had to hold carefully. Now, it's becoming something we carry. The energy no longer feels like it's pressing against us constantly. It settles deeper, integrating with the flow of our normal state. When we activate it, the transition is smoother. When we hold it, the strain is less immediate. It still demands focus. It still requires awareness. But it no longer feels foreign. I watch Emily as she holds the pink light steady, her expression calm and focused, no strain in her posture. She's not forcing it. She's existing with it. And that's when it clicks for me. Mastering phase 3 isn't about drawing out more power. It's not about pushing limits or forcing growth. It's about understanding how to exist with it, without letting it take control. Chapter 5, Measured by the Void. The anti-light returns without warning. There is no build-up, no distant signal, no shifting of the horizon, only a sudden, suffocating change in the world around us. The air thickens, magic dulls, and even sound feels muted, as if something unseen is pressing down on reality itself. I feel it before I see it. The green light within me tightens, not in fear, but in awareness. Emily steps closer to me without a word. We both know. It's back, she says quietly. And then it appears. A figure of pure absence stands ahead of us, darker than shadow, more complete than darkness itself. Light doesn't reflect off it. It doesn't bend around it. It simply stops. This time, there is no hesitation. We move together instantly. Phase 3 rises. Green and pink ignite in perfect synchronization, the energy flowing between us smoothly, controlled, steady, everything we've trained for. The connection holds firm as we step forward, meeting the anti-light head-on. For a moment. Just a moment. It feels like we're ready. Then the first exchange happens. And that illusion shatters. I strike first, both rapiers formed from green light cutting forward in a precise, controlled arc. At the same time, Emily amplifies the output, her pink light reinforcing mine without destabilizing it. It should be enough to force a reaction. It isn't. The anti-light moves once. Not fast. Not forceful. Just, certain. My attack is gone before it lands, erased as if it never existed. Emily's amplification flickers, disrupted, not broken, but pushed aside effortlessly. We adjust instantly. I shift into motion, circling, striking again from a different angle. Emily keeps the flow stable, reinforcing every movement, every shift, every defense. Again. Nothing. Every strike is countered before it completes. Every defense is broken before it fully forms. There's no wasted movement from it. No excess energy. No effort. It doesn't feel like we're fighting something stronger. It feels like we're being studied, measured, and found lacking. Stay with me, I say, keeping my voice steady. I am, Emily answers immediately. We push harder. Not recklessly but faster, tighter, more precise. Our synchronization improves under pressure. The green and pink lights align perfectly, each movement flowing into the next, each action supported by the other. For a brief stretch of time, we hold. Not winning. Not gaining ground. But not collapsing either. It's the best we've ever performed together. And it still isn't enough. The anti-light steps forward. One movement. Everything breaks. Our formation collapses under a single, overwhelming shift in pressure. The green light bends. The pink light strains to compensate, stabilizing just enough to keep us from losing control entirely, but we're pushed back, forced onto the defensive instantly. I block. It breaks through. I reinforce. It cuts past it. Emily amplifies. It suppresses. Every action we take is answered perfectly. Not stronger. Better. More complete. And then. It speaks. The one you faced before. Its voice isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It cuts through everything effortlessly. Was not me. The words hit harder than any attack. A cold realization settles in my chest even as we struggle to stay standing. That was a fragment. A lesser construct. Another step forward. The pressure increases. A clone. Emily's grip tightens behind me. I feel her light push harder into mine, trying to stabilize what's already starting to strain. And this, it continues, is still not my full form. The battlefield feels smaller. Heavier. Like we've stepped into something far beyond what we understood before. We don't stop. We can't. Even knowing this, we keep fighting. Because stopping means losing. And losing means. I don't let that thought finish. We push forward again. Everything we've trained. Everything we've learned. Every ounce of control. Every moment of synchronization. We use all of it. And for a few seconds. We almost match it. Almost. Then it ends. Not with a final attack. Not with a decisive blow. but with stillness. The anti-light stops moving. The pressure vanishes just enough for us to remain standing. It looks at us if something without eyes can be said to look. And for the first time, I understand something worse than being overpowered. We were never in danger of winning. You are not yet worth destroying. The words are calm. Final. Emily's light flickers, not in fear but in the strain of holding phase 3 this long under that level of pressure. Grow. A pause. Become something worthy of a real fight. And then. It's gone. No flash. No distortion. Just absence where it once stood. Silence crashes back into the world. The air returns. Magic flows again. Sound comes rushing back all at once. My legs give slightly, but I force myself to stay upright. Emily is still behind me, still holding on, her pink light dimming slowly but steadily. We're both breathing harder than we should be. Not from exertion alone. From what just happened. From what we just learned. I lower the green light carefully, letting it fade instead of forcing it down. My hands feel heavier than they should. My chest tight. My thoughts, slower. We didn't win, Emily says quietly. I shake my head. No. The truth settles in, cold and unavoidable. We didn't push it back. We didn't outlast it. We didn't survive because we were strong. I look at the space where it stood. We were spared. And somehow, that feels worse than defeat. Chapter 6 The First Steps Beyond. The decision is made quietly. Not in the middle of battle, not in desperation, but in the stillness that follows understanding. We aren't strong enough. Not yet. And staying where we are training in the same places, repeating the same patterns won't change that. So we leave. Not to run. But to grow. This is only the beginning. Part 1 of something much larger. We travel light. Not because we lack resources, but because this isn't a journey meant for comfort. Every road we take, every place we pass through, is another chance to learn, to adapt, to become something more than we were yesterday. The world of Canthar feels different when you're not anchored to one place. Wider. Less predictable. More honest. There are no walls out here to separate you from danger or from opportunity. And that's exactly what we need. Everyone grows in their own way. Mom throws herself into potion making with a focus I haven't seen before. What started as careful practice turns into something more refined. She experiments, constantly adjusting mixtures, testing new combinations, observing results with patience and precision. Over time, her confidence builds, and her potions become more reliable, more powerful, more specialized. Healing. Stabilization. Resistance. Even a few experimental brews that hint at effects we don't fully understand yet. She doesn't rush. She refines. And that makes all the difference. Dad continues his sword training. At first, it was about survival, learning enough to defend himself if something went wrong. Now it's something more. Discipline. Control. He trains every day, repeating movements until they feel natural, refining his stance, improving his balance, learning how to react instead of hesitate. He's not trying to become a master overnight. He's becoming steady. Reliable. And that kind of growth matters more than raw strength ever could. Tess pushes deeper into magic. Not just using it but expanding it. She experiments with different forms, different applications, stretching her control in ways that make her more versatile in combat and beyond. Where she once relied on instinct and experience, she now builds structure into her power. Layering spells. Combining effects. Thinking ahead. She's becoming not just stronger but smarter in how she uses what she already has. Myra focuses on support. Not the kind that stands behind and reacts, but the kind that shapes everything around it. Her spells grow more complex, more precise, reinforcing defenses, enhancing movement, stabilizing energy flows in ways that make all of us more effective. She studies constantly, refining techniques that don't draw attention but change the outcome of fights all the same. She doesn't overpower problems. She prevents them. Emily balances two worlds: learning and training. She studies with Tess and me, working through reading, writing, and math with the same curiosity she brings to everything else. At the same time, her control over the pink light improves steadily. Not in bursts. Not in sudden leaps. But in consistent, quiet progress. She practices breathing, focus, intention, the same foundation I once had to learn the hard way. Only she learns it without fear. Without pressure. And that changes everything. Her light flickers less now. When it appears, it's softer. Steadier. More intentional. She's not just growing stronger. She's learning how to carry it. As for me, I stop separating things. Before, everything had its place. Sword training was one thing. Magic was another. Potions, something else entirely. The green light stood above all of it. Now, I see it differently. Everything connects. I study Mom's potions, not just what they do, but how they're built. I train with Dad, not just teaching, but refining my own movement, my own awareness. I work with Tess and Myra, understanding how different forms of magic interact, how they layer, how they support each other. And through all of it, I focus on control. Not more power. Better understanding. The green light responds to that. Not by growing stronger but by becoming clearer. More precise. More cooperative. The journey isn't filled with grand battles. Not yet. Instead, we face smaller challenges. Stray monsters. Unstable magical zones. Situations that don't demand overwhelming force but reward careful decisions and teamwork. Each one teaches us something. Positioning. Timing. Coordination. Trust. We learn how to move as a group, not just fighting side by side, but supporting each other naturally, without needing to think about it. Mistakes still happen. But we learn from them. And that's what matters. Days turn into weeks. The road stretches on. And slowly, something begins to take shape. Not just strength. Not just skill. Something more complete. We're no longer just individuals growing stronger in our own ways. We're becoming a team. One that can adapt. One that can endure. One that might be able to face what's coming next. Because after what we saw, after what the anti-light showed us, there's no illusion left. This journey isn't optional. It's necessary. And we've only just taken the first step. Chapter 7: The Shape of Control. As our journey continues, the focus shifts. We're no longer just training to become stronger as individuals. We're learning how to function as one. Emily and I push our synchronization further than ever before. At first, it's familiar shared timing, matched movements, steady flow between green and pink. But as we train, something changes. The connection deepens, moving beyond coordination into something closer to instinct. We don't need to call out movements anymore. We feel them. When I shift, she's already adjusting. When her light rises, mine responds without hesitation. It isn't perfect, but it's close. Closer than it's ever been. We begin practicing in a near-link state, holding phase 3 together for longer periods, letting the energy flow between us instead of passing it back and forth. The strain is still there, but it's more controlled now, less chaotic. More shared. At the same time, we begin training as a full team. Not just fighting near each other. Fighting with each other. We develop formations simple at first, then more complex. Myra anchors the group, her support magic weaving through everything we do. Reinforcement spells strengthen our defenses, stabilize our energy, and give us room to push further without collapsing. Tess takes the offensive lead, her magic sharper now, more controlled, striking with purpose instead of raw output. She moves where pressure builds, breaking enemy momentum before it becomes overwhelming. Dad integrates into the formation gradually, his sword work no longer hesitant. He doesn't try to match our speed or power, he doesn't need to. He holds position, creates openings, and protects where it matters. Mom moves behind the flow of combat, not removed from it, but part of it. She learns to use potions in real-time, healing, enhancing, stabilizing, choosing exactly what's needed in the moment instead of preparing everything in advance. And I stand at the center of it all. Not leading. Not carrying. Balancing. The green light moves where it's needed, reinforcing, shielding, striking, but always in coordination with the others. For the first time, it feels like we're not compensating for each other. We're amplifying each other. The world itself refuses to make it easy. Every place we travel forces us to adapt. Monodense forests flood the air with energy, overwhelming control, and making even simple techniques unstable. We're forced to slow down, reduce output, and focus on precision just to maintain balance. In unstable regions, magic doesn't behave consistently. Spells fluctuate, timing shifts, and even the green light feels unpredictable. Every action requires careful adjustment, constant awareness. And then there are places where magic barely responds at all. Those are the hardest. Because there, we can't rely on power. Only skill. Only teamwork. Only trust. As the training deepens, we begin to approach something we've avoided for a long time. Emotion. Not fear. Not love. Something else. Anger. At first, we try to ignore it. Then we try to suppress it. Both fail. Because anger doesn't disappear. It waits. And when it surfaces at the wrong time, it destabilizes everything. So we change our approach. We face it directly. The first attempts are rough. When anger rises, the green light reacts immediately, sharper, faster, more aggressive. The pink light follows, amplifying that surge, and for a moment it feels like power is increasing. Then control slips. Not completely. But enough to force us to stop. Too unstable, I say, pulling the energy back. Emily nods, frustrated but focused. I felt it slipping. We try again. And again. Each time, we get a little further. We don't try to remove the anger. We acknowledge it. Understand it. Hold it. Instead of letting it push outward, we keep it contained, directing it, shaping it, refusing to let it take control. It's harder than anything we've done before. Because this isn't just about power. It's about ourselves. Days pass. Then more. Slowly, something begins to shift. The anger stops feeling like a disruption. It becomes fuel. Not wild. Not uncontrolled. But focused. Intentional. The moment it finally happens is quiet. There's no explosion. No sudden surge. Just alignment. Emily and I stand together, the green and pink lights rising in sync. The emotion is there, we can feel it, but it doesn't overwhelm us. It doesn't take control. We do. The energy deepens. Not faster. Not louder. Stronger. Denser. More precise. The light shifts. Phase 4. It doesn't feel like rage. It feels like control over it. The power is sharper now, more focused than anything we've used before. Every movement carries more weight, more intention, but without the instability that once would have come with it. Emily looks at me, her pink light steady, intense but calm. "We did it," she says softly. I nod. "Yeah." But even as I say it, I understand something important. This isn't just another step forward. It's something deeper. Every phase we've reached hasn't just made us stronger. It's made us understand something new. About the light. About control. About ourselves. And standing there, with phase 4 steady around us, I realize. This path isn't about chasing power. It's about learning how to carry more of it, without losing who we are. Chapter 8: Refinement and Separation. As the journey continues, our focus changes again. Not toward more power. Not even toward new techniques. But toward refinement. And independence. For me, that means pushing my combat style further than I ever have before. The emerald attacks are no longer just a sword style, they're becoming something fluid, something adaptable. I move between dual rapiers and green light constructs without hesitation now, shifting forms mid-motion instead of preparing them in advance. Blades in my hands. Weapons in the air. All of it connected. All of it controlled. I practice maintaining multiple constructs at once, floating weapons that track targets, adjust their positioning, and fire precisely timed bursts of green light while I stay fully engaged in close combat. At first, it's overwhelming. Too many variables. Too many points of control. But over time, something clicks. I stop trying to manage everything individually. Instead, I guide it as a system. The constructs don't act randomly, they follow intent. And once I trust that, everything becomes smoother. Faster. More precise. I'm no longer switching between styles. I'm combining them. While I push forward, Emily begins something just as important. Learning to stand on her own. Up until now, her strength has always been connected to mine, her pink light amplifying the green, stabilizing it, growing alongside it. Now, she learns to use it independently. At first, she hesitates. Not out of fear. But because she's used to being connected. "Try it without me," I tell her gently. She nods. Takes a breath. And lets the pink light rise on its own. It flickers at first but doesn't break. She practices forming small defensive barriers, learning how to hold them steady without relying on external support. Then she moves on to controlled bursts, short, focused pulses instead of wide amplification. It's slower than before. Harder. But it's hers. The moment it clicks isn't dramatic. There's no surge of power. No sudden breakthrough. Just a small test. A controlled scenario. A threat designed to pressure her, not overwhelm her. I stay back. Watching. Ready but not intervening. The situation unfolds quickly. She reacts. Not perfectly. But correctly. A defensive pulse. A shift in position. A controlled release of power that pushes the threat back just enough. And then. It's over. She stands there, breathing a little faster, pink light fading slowly. She looks at me. I don't say anything at first. Then I nod. "You handled it?" Her face lights up, not with power, but with pride. It's a small moment. But it matters. Because for the first time, she didn't rely on me. She relied on herself. At the same time, my experiments continue. The more I work with the green light, the more I realize it doesn't just interact with magic, it understands it. Potions become the next step. I begin combining them with controlled applications of green light, not to enhance them blindly, but to shape their effects before they're even used. I don't just mix ingredients anymore. I analyze them. The moment I focus the green light on a potion, its structure becomes clear: what it does, how strong it is, where it might fail. From there, I adjust. Refine. Predict. Sometimes I enhance healing. Other times I stabilize unstable mixtures. And occasionally, I create something entirely new. Effects that don't exist naturally. Not through guesswork, but through understanding. It's no longer just magic. And it's not quite science. It's something in between. The world keeps testing us. Monorich zones flood us with energy, forcing tighter control. Unstable regions distort timing and response, making even simple actions unpredictable. And in areas where magic barely responds, we're pushed to rely on skill alone. Every environment forces adaptation. Nothing works the same way twice. And that's the point. We stop expecting consistency. We start expecting change. Chapter 9: Return to the Edge. After months of travel, training, and growth, we finally return home. The road back feels familiar, but we aren't the same people who left it. There's an expectation in all of us, just a small one, that maybe we'll get a moment to rest. A pause. Something quiet before whatever comes next. But the moment we step into town, that hope disappears. Something is wrong. It's not obvious at first. Nothing is burning. No alarms are ringing. The buildings stand the same, the streets unchanged. But the feeling is different. People move faster. Talk quieter. Eyes shift more often. There's tension in the air, like something waiting just beneath the surface. We don't need to ask. We already know. Still, it doesn't take long before we hear it. The demons, they're moving again. The words spread through the streets in low voices, passed from one person to another like something too heavy to say out loud. Full armies this time. Not like before. They're coming back. The war. Again. Not small skirmishes. Not scattered threats. Something larger. Organized. Deliberate. The weight of it settles over us immediately. But this time, it feels different. We don't panic. We don't hesitate. We prepare. The shift happens naturally. There's no discussion about whether we're getting involved. Only how. We move through the motions with a clarity that wasn't there before. Equipment is checked not just for function, but for fit, for efficiency, for how it works with everything else we built. Mom reviews her potions, adjusting mixtures, organizing them for quick access instead of careful storage. Dad checks his gear with steady hands, no hesitation in his movements now. There's focus there, quiet, grounded confidence. Tess runs through her magic, refining layers, preparing combinations she can deploy instantly instead of building from scratch. Myra reviews support patterns, already thinking ahead where to reinforce, how to stabilize, how to keep everything from collapsing under pressure. And me. I bring it all together. Not by leading, but by understanding. Every role. Every strength. Every limitation. The green light moves with me as I prepare, not flaring, not reacting, just steady, controlled, ready. Emily stands beside me. Not behind. Not waiting. Beside me. She watches everything, taking it in, her pink light calm but present beneath the surface. There's no hesitation in her anymore. No uncertainty. She's not just training now. She's ready. Is it going to be like before? She asks quietly. I look at her for a moment. Then I shake my head. No. Because it won't be. Not for them. And not for us. The town continues moving around us, the tension building as more news spreads, more confirmations come in. Reports of movement. Of formations. Of something larger than anything we've seen since the last war ended. But this time, the fear isn't the same. It's still there. But it's different. Because we're different. We gather together as a group, everything prepared, everything understood. There are no long speeches. No dramatic moments. Just a shared awareness. We've done this before. But not like this. Not with this level of control. Not with this level of understanding. Not as a team like this. As the reality of another war settles in, I feel the green light steady within me. Not pushing. Not warning. Just, ready. And I understand something clearly. This isn't just a return to battle. It's a test. Of everything we've built. Everything we've learned. Everything we've become. And everything we're willing to protect. Chapter 10: What we hold together. The battle begins without warning. One moment the field is tense, waiting. The next, it breaks. Demon forces surge forward in a unified wave, their numbers heavy, their movement sharper than anything we've seen before. There's no chaos in their advance, no reckless charge. It's controlled. Deliberate. Designed to overwhelm. The front lines collide instantly, steel meeting corruption, magic clashing against something darker and more refined than before. The pressure hits all at once, and from the very first second, it's clear. This isn't a fight we can win with power alone. Hold formation. The call spreads, but it doesn't need to. We're already moving. Myra acts first. Her magic spreads outward in layered waves, stabilizing the ground beneath us, reinforcing weak points before they break, smoothing out the instability in the air caused by the demon's presence. It's subtle, but without it, everything would already be collapsing. Tess moves next. She doesn't rush forward blindly. Her attacks are precise, cutting into the enemy where pressure builds, disrupting their momentum before it can fully form. Every strike has purpose, no wasted movement, no unnecessary force. Dad steps into position beside her. No hesitation. No second guessing. His sword work is steady, controlled, grounded in discipline instead of reaction. He doesn't try to overpower anything. He holds his space, protects openings, and keeps the line from breaking where it matters most. Behind us, Mom moves constantly. Not standing still. Not waiting. She reads the battlefield the same way we do, anticipating damage, responding before it becomes critical. Potions move through her hands with practiced efficiency, healing, reinforcing, stabilizing exactly where they're needed, exactly when they're needed. And beside me, Emily. She's not watching anymore. She's part of it. Her pink light rises with calm control, not overwhelming, not reactive. It flows into the space around us, amplifying where needed, stabilizing where pressure builds, protecting without disrupting the balance we've worked so hard to create. She doesn't wait for me. She moves with me. And I move through it all. The emerald blades form in my hands instantly, left and right moving in perfect synchronization as I step into the flow of combat. Around me, green light constructs take shape, not overwhelming, not excessive, just enough. Floating weapons. Controlled bursts. Precise coverage. They don't dominate the battlefield. They support it. Every strike I make is measured. Every shield I raise is intentional. The green light doesn't surge, it flows. The demons press harder. They adapt quickly, adjusting to our movements, targeting weak points, testing our coordination. Their corruption distorts the air, making timing harder, pushing against Myra's stabilizing magic, trying to break the rhythm we rely on. For a moment, it almost works. A section of the line falters. Pressure spikes. Everything threatens to collapse. Now. Tess calls. I'm already moving. Emily's light reinforces mine instantly, not overpowering it, just enough to push it further, sharpen it, extend its reach without losing control. I shift forward, blades cutting through the pressure point, breaking the momentum before it spreads. At the same time, the constructs reposition, redirecting fire, covering the gap before it widens. Dad steps in behind me, locking the space down. Myra reinforces. Mom stabilizes the injured before they fall. And just like that, the line holds. We adjust. Again. And again. And again. The battle stretches on. Minutes feel like hours. Every movement matters. Every decision carries weight. There are no wasted actions. No room for error. We're not overpowering the enemy. We're outlasting them. Outthinking them. Outworking them. Fatigue sets in. Not all at once. Slowly. Subtly. Arms grow heavier. Focus tightens. Even the green light feels denser, requiring more effort to maintain its precision. But we don't break. Because none of us are carrying it alone. There's a moment. Small, almost unnoticed. Where everything aligns perfectly. Myra's support flows seamlessly. Tess strikes exactly where needed. Dad holds the line without shifting. Mom's timing is flawless. Emily's light amplifies and stabilizes without strain. And I don't have to think about what to do. I just do it. We stop reacting. We start controlling. The demons begin to falter. Not all at once. But enough. Their coordination slips. Their pressure weakens. Small openings appear where there were none before. We take them. Not aggressively. Not recklessly. Carefully. One step forward. Then another. The battlefield shifts. What started as defense becomes pressure. What was once survival becomes control. We don't rush it. We don't force it. We maintain the rhythm. Push. I call. Not loud. Not desperate. Certain. And we move together. The final wave hits harder than the rest. A last attempt to break us. To overwhelm us. To undo everything we built. For a moment, it works. The pressure spikes. The air distorts. The line strains. Emily's hand tightens against my shoulder. I've got it, she says. Her pink light flares not wildly, not uncontrollably but with focused intensity. It spreads through the field, reinforcing everything at once, giving us just enough stability to hold. Just enough. I move. Blades cut forward. Constructs reposition. The green light sharpens not stronger, but clearer. More precise than it's ever been. Tess breaks their center. Dad locks it down. Myra stabilizes the surge. Mom keeps us standing. Emily holds everything together. And the wave breaks. Silence follows. Not immediately. But gradually. The sound of battle fades. The pressure lifts. The corruption in the air thins. Until finally. Nothing moves. We stand there. Breathing. Still. Alive. The battlefield is quiet. Not empty. Not untouched. But finished. I let the green light fade slowly, not forcing it down, just allowing it to settle back into place. My arms feel heavy. My chest tight. But I'm still standing. We all are. Emily steps down beside me. Her pink light dims, but it doesn't flicker. It rests. Just like mine. Tess exhales, lowering her magic. Dad rests his sword against the ground for a moment. Mom checks the last of the wounded. Myra lets her support magic fade carefully, making sure nothing destabilizes in the process. No one says anything at first. There's no need. We all feel it. This victory isn't like the others. It isn't overwhelming. It isn't effortless. It isn't built on a single moment of power. It's earned. Through every movement. Every decision. Every moment we didn't break. I look at them. All of them. And I understand something clearly. Something that took all of this. Every battle, every failure, every step of this journey. To truly see. Strength isn't just power. It's not how much you can unleash. It's not how far you can push. It's this. Knowing how to stand together. Knowing how to trust each other. Knowing how to use everything we have. Not separately, but as one. And as the battlefield settles into silence, I realize. This is only the beginning of what we become.